All right. What do you got here? I believe this is the first official meeting between Mark Carney and President Trump, because as we all recall correctly, obviously, us Canadians, we just recently had our election and Mark Carney won. And as we all know, he has to eventually go in and talk with the President of the United States. Now, for some reason, I'm trying to think of what's the best way to sort of describe this, but it seemed like Trump never really had the most confidence in Pierre Polyev. I'll be quite honest, and I feel like there is a reasoning for this. I think it might be because I'm okay. I'm making a call here. I think I know what the reasoning is. I think it's because that Trump saw a lot of Ron DeSantis in Pierre Polyev, and that's probably why he didn't really end up liking him. Now, that's not like my own little sort of conspiracy theory that I'm just kind of throwing out in the ring. Because let's be honest here, if you've ever seen Pierre Polyev ever talk or speak about anything, you can tell that he is one of just the most fake dudes out there, and that he should just never be trusted or believed when he says something that's seen as even obvious, something that is true. If it comes from Pierre Poilievre's mouth, I feel like it should just not be trusted. I'm gonna keep it. I'm keeping it so real right now. I think Pierre Poilievre is the type of dude who would literally lie about a dent in a windshield just to try to sell you a car. He would do it, right? He's the type of dude who would do something like that. Very, very untrustworthy person. Very swarthy, very nerdy, big loser. All of the offensive things one can say about Pierre Polyev apply here, obviously, as always. But that means Carney wins. And if we know anything about Mark Carney, Trump should be a big fan of him because he is a world-renowned economist. And broadly speaking, Trump, I love the economy, even though he has no idea, and he's been constantly breaking it with less idiotic, belligerent tariff policies. But it's tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Unfortunately, now he's in power, and we have to deal with the consequences of his sheer rank idiocy. But nice meme and all that. Can't build housing without that Canadian lumber. That's true, boy meets mini. We'll probably get into a bit of Canadian lumber and I don't know, just Trump's probable stupidity in the press conference that we're going to take a look at later, because the more and more interviews that Trump has been doing, the more sundowny and worse he's been getting. That's the kind of vibe that I have right now. But as we all know, we got to start off with a classic, the Truth Social post. But what do we have here? I look forward to meeting the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. I very much want to work with him, but cannot understand one simple truth. Why is America subsidizing Canada by $200 billion a year? He still doesn't understand how a trade deficit works. He still doesn't get it. So let me explain it for the umpteenth time. A trade deficit, which, by the way, he had a role to play in its exacerbation, as has been explained before. But the reason why the trade deficit between Canada and the United States had an increase is because of, Trump attempting to bully OPEC into lowering oil prices. It failed, and they ended up, backfiring on Trump, and oil prices, as a result, per barrel went up, which meant gasoline was starting to go up. So in order to compensate for that, you want to know what Trump did? He started importing a lot more Canadian oil to get around OPEC. That is why. So a complete shit show happens, and as a result, America now has a bigger trade deficit with us because he's been importing a lot more of our oil, which is, by the way, Canada's biggest export is oil. Very cool. In addition to giving them free military protection and many other things, I don't know, buddy. If we want to turn off the oil tap and the lumber tap from you, we could just do that, We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber. Now, of course, just stupid. Guys, we need to bring back our rudimentary economic jobs, even though, there's no capacity for these things for the U.S. to be able to provide any of this stuff. It's stupid, dude. I think there's already been constant talks about how construction companies are saying can you not talk this way in Canada to Canada because we really need the lumber so we can build things because those are already starting to slow down. We don't need anything they have other than their friendship. Is Donald Trump a shonen protagonist now? What the fuck is this fucking anime fucking friendship bullshit, dude? What the fuck is this? You constantly threaten us with tariffs. You've put tariffs on us. The 10% global tariff and 25% on steel, aluminum, and other products. Why should we be friends with you? You're just doing random belligerent nonsense for because of the voices in your head. Get the hell out of here. Which hopefully we will always maintain. They, on the other hand, need everything from us. Like what? Dude, we import a bunch of shit from China like you fucking do. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, I guess we can also make a deal with the Chinese. Fuck it. Yeah, sure. Fuck you guys. Whatever. The Prime Minister will be arriving shortly, and that will be most likely my only question of consequence. Yeah, dude. A shonen protagonist Donald Trump arc. But, we got the whole presser conference right here. With our favorite, dipshits. We'll just keep it like this, actually. Oh, what do we got here? Let's take a look.
To become a U.S. citizen.
Right. I'm testifying there in front of Congress. So we do want to break away because we are getting the shot now inside of the Oval Office. President Trump and the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, inside. And let's bring you the coverage here on Live Now.
What do we got here? All right. Resumed it real quick. All right. Wonder what they're saying. Also, keep in mind, there's a reason why Trump is probably not being anywhere near as hostile to Mark Carney as he is right now. Because again, we're pulling it up. Trudeau and Melania. This is the fucking reasoning. We all know the fucking meme. We know the meme. But look at how sad he is while fucking Melania Trump is macking it up with fucking our fucking dude. Our dude Justin Trudeau. Look at this fucking side-eye shit here by Ivanka. This is what it is, dude. We're keeping it a $1.50, dude. Trump is feeling emasculated that he can't, that his wife fucking hates him and he can't have an incestuous relationship with his fucking daughter that he probably sees as the paragon of American beauty or whatever the fucking shit he thinks about Ivanka. We all know the meme. We know the meme. It's all emasculation, psychosexual bullshit. What do we got? He is weird about Ivanka. We chilling? We bing chilling right now.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. As you know, just a few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada. And I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take a vote right. His party was...
That's such a funny thing to say, I'll be honest, because it's just a full acknowledgement that, because of him, Polyev just got, completely shot in the foot. I just find that really funny, dude.
He was losing by a lot. And he ended up winning, so I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks.
I do find it really funny that his dumbass is the one that's taking credit. And also, Trump's not the biggest reason why a lot of people swung for the Liberals. It's because they got rid of Trudeau. It's stupid to say this every single time because the mind of the average voter is an enigma. They believe in everything and nothing at the same time. It is incredible. But the reasoning as to why a lot of people were just we're going to vote for the other guy instead of the guy who's been in power for 10 years is just because they just got tired of, Trudeau being in power. It's really stupid, obviously. I don't like that this is the case. I think it's ridiculous, but hey, this is politics. Politics is all about vibes, so whatever.
In the history of politics, maybe even greater than mine. You know? But I want to just congratulate you. It was a great election, actually. We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person, because we spoke before the election quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And you see the new and improved Oval Office as it becomes more and more beautiful with love. You know, we handle it with great love, and 24-karat gold. That always helps too. Right? But it's.
I'm trying to think. I think Trump really is trying to do. He's trying to do his MTV Cribs bit. You know, he wants to be. He wants maybe he's trying to be. He's trying to be the new Exhibit. Who remembers that shit, dude? He like Pimp My Ride and shit. Maybe that's what. Instead of pimping my ride, I'm pimping my office.
It's been a lot of fun. We're going over some of the beautiful pictures that were stored in the vaults that were for many, many years, in some cases over 100 years. They were stored in vaults of the great presidents, or almost great presidents, all having a reason for being up, every one of them. So it's very interesting. But I just want to congratulate you. And we had a really great race. I watched the debate. I thought you were excellent. And I think we have a lot of things in common. We have some tough points to go over, and that'll be fine. We're going to also be discussing Ukraine, Russia, the war, because Mark wants it ended as quickly as I do. I think it has to end. We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will.
What? What does he mean by they don't want to fight anymore, right? Like, what, is there a ceasefire or something? What the fuck does that mean, right? Like, is he trying to say that the Houthis are, like, looking for a ceasefire? We know the conditions that the Houthis want. They want the genocide of Palestinians to end. Like, they want, like, you want the Houthis to stop attacking shipping. Okay, they have one simple condition, and that is, okay, tell Israel to stop bombing the Palestinians, and you got a deal. Because again, like during that the ceasefire, the month-long ceasefire, you know what the Houthis did? They stopped attacking shipping in the Gulf of Aden. Okay, like they stopped that shit. But I guess they want a ceasefire now. They want to stop getting blown up or something. Even though like all of the American airstrikes have done really nothing. If I recall correctly, it was not that long ago that there was just like confirmed destructions of F-18 like Super Hornets from like the carrier group that's stationed by Yemen. So, and how effective has the air campaign been so far? From what I understand, it's not really done anything because already like the Houthis have stored all their weapons in like hidden underground stores because of stuff like this with air campaigns. They're very well experienced with, probably hiding a lot of their equipment in order to be able to attack shipping in the Gulf of Aden. But, because of the war that they had with the Saudi Arabians for, it was about like 9 years or something that they had. But, they probably have a pretty good idea on how to hide stuff from airstrikes. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Stop the bombings, and they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore, and that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just
I don't believe. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I don't believe him, man.
News, we just found out about that, so I think that's very, very positive. They were knocking out a lot of ships going, as you know, sailing beautifully down the various seas. It wasn't just a canal, it was a lot of other places. So and I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis, effective immediately. And Marco, you'll let everybody know that, okay? Do you have something to say about that, by the way? It was a pretty big announcement.
Yeah, this was always a freedom of navigation mission. These are a band of individuals with advanced weaponry that were threatening global shipping, and the job was to get that to stop. And if it's going to stop, then we can stop. And I think it's an important development.
And we'll have maybe before, we're going to, as you know, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. We're going to UAE and Qatar. And that'll be, I guess, Monday night. Some of you are coming with us. I think before then we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. And I won't tell you on what, but it's and it's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive. And that announcement.
Is this even on topic? I don't know, Boy Meets Mini. He just likes to yap, honestly. Like, whatever. I mean, I get like I don't even know if Canada really ships much through the Suez Canal and the Gulf of Aden. I'll be honest, I don't think we do. Probably not, but whatever. He's yapping. He's trying to have a good time, you know. He's like I just like to talk, you know. I'm a Twitch streamer as well, folks. I like yapping. I like talking, you know. Wheeling, dealing, feeling, McWheeling, dealing, and feeling, and dealing, and wheeling. You know me, folks.
It will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave, but it'll be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject, very important subject. So you'll all be here. Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually.
I know.
But thank you for your hospitality and above all, for your leadership. You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here, with the help of my colleagues here. I'm going to spread the credit. To transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl, much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic. And the history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation so we can move forward.
That's great. Very nice. Thank you very much. It's a very nice statement.
Anybody?
Is USMCA there? No, it was actually very effective, and it's still very effective, but people have to follow it. So, that's been a problem. People haven't followed it, but it's...
Okay, here's the thing with the USMCA. First off, this is the trade the trade deal that, he negotiated, and I guess he has a problem with it now or something. Okay, very strange, but if I recall correctly, because of Trump's belligerence in terms of the policies, we have with all the tariff and trade policies that he's trying to do, we have a credible a credible case in order to sue the United States. We could do that if we wanted to. It's the question is well, are we going to want to do that? I don't know. The option is there for Mark Carney if he wants to pursue it. Will he pursue it? I don't know. I don't see really much of a reason why he would want to, but if something gets renegotiated or something, then okay, I think that's also an acceptable outcome. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the USMCA. But because of Trump's just sheer idiotic belligerence, we have a credible case to sue the United States because of just how silly that they've been with all of trade tariff, the tariff war and the other trade war nonsense that he's been engaging with. If we wanted to, we can just be okay, well, you're not following the tenets of the deal, so we're just going to sue you. Okay, get owned, idiot. It's silly.
Say it was a transitional step a little bit, and as you know, it terminates fairly shortly. It gets renegotiated very shortly. But I thought it was a very positive step from NAFTA. NAFTA was the worst trade deal in the history of our country, probably in the history of the world. And this was a transitional deal, and we'll see what happens. We're going to be starting to possibly renegotiate that if it's even necessary. I don't know that it's necessary anymore, but it served a very good purpose. And the biggest purpose it served is we got rid of NAFTA. NAFTA was a very unfair deal for the United States, a very, very terrible deal. It should have never been made. It was made many years ago, but it should have never been made. Yeah.
Canada and the United States. Would you like to see your first trade deal be with Canada?
I would love that. Look, I have a lot of respect for this man, and I watched him come up, in a sense, through the ranks. When he wasn't given much of a chance, and he ran a really great campaign. He did a really great debate. I think that debate was very helpful. I was going to raise my hand. I don't know if that's good or bad. I shouldn't say that. That might hurt you. But no, he ran a really great election, I thought. And yeah, something could happen. Something could happen. Yeah, please.
What's the top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
That's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada. Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada.
The Shonen protagonist Trump ? He's on his Shonen arc, dude. He's become a protag. He listen. I'm on my friendship arc. I just want to be friends with people because everyone is so mean to me otherwise, and I just don't like the fact that people are so mean to me. I don't like that at all. I don't like it very much. I'm not really sure what exactly Trump's trying to get at here. I want friendship. I just want friends. Is it because of the fact that a lot of people, just broadly speaking, do not like him because of his just belligerence? I don't know. I don't know where this is coming from. This is kind of strange.
Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And no,
That's true,
I love
Zane.
Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky. I mean, how good, the great one. You happen to have a very, very good hockey.
Okay. Do you want to know the only reason why he's talking about Wayne Gretzky? It's because the Wayne Gretzky was at his inauguration. The only reason why this motherfucker pretends to care about hockey is because Wayne Gretzky went to his inauguration. That's the only reason, dude. That's it. Yeah, elbows up. You know, we you know.
Hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of. He is a big tough cookie too. Just broke the record, and he's a great guy.
Wait, did he mention the Capitals? Wait, what?
And,
Hold on.
here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of. He is a big tough cookie too. Just broke the record.
That's Alexander Ovechkin. He's talking about Alexander Ovechkin, who's a Russian. But okay, man.
And he's a great guy. And you know, we had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players. But now Canada is a very special place. Yeah,
He's
please.
talking about
Mr.
Ovechkin.
President, Mr. President, I'd like to get your response to this too. Mr. President, you have said
Okay.
No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut, and it's also a beautiful. You know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at
I can't believe that it. Shit, we're getting based anti-colonial Trump. Okay, based. He's become down with the oppressor, down with the British. That's funny.
that beautiful formation when it's together. I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may,
Don't ask your average Canadian what they probably think about their fucking average Americans. Okay, we do not like you guys right now. I don't think we are still big fans of of the Americans because of all the fucking just stupid, idiotic belligerents. Like, I don't even know, man. Like, it's just silly.
as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace, that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months,
There's
it's not for sale. Won't be.
slick little piece of rhetoric there by Mark Carney right there. Yeah, there's just you know, you're in real estate. You know, there's just some places that are never for sale. That's that's slick there by Mark Carney.
Be for sale ever, but the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. We have done that in the past, and part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have. I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because. Mark knew, you know, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
what would it take to get the tariffs off of Canada?
Well, we'll be talking about different things. Like, you know, we want to protect our automobile business, and so does Mark. But we want to make the automobiles, and we want to, you know, we have a tremendous abundance of energy, more than any country. We have, just in Alaska alone, Anwar has been reopened now. Anwar is probably the largest find anywhere in the world. They say it's larger than Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but it's a lot.
Never say never.
But we have tremendous amounts of energy. Other countries don't. We're both lucky in that way. They have energy. We have energy. We have more than we can ever use and more than we could ever sell, actually. And you have the same thing. So we're two countries that are very lucky. If you look at China, they don't have that. You know, it's a big disadvantage. Other countries, most countries don't have. You know, most countries don't have that. So Canada and us, we have a lot of.
What he's saying here isn't exactly inaccurate, but like the Chinese don't really have to concern themselves all that much with like energy problems because they can just import a bunch of cheap gas from the Russians, right? The Russians can just compensate for that, right? And I mean, it's part of the reason why the Russian economy has been seeing a bit of a recovery is because of, well, Chinese imports of, well, Russian gas, right? Broadly speaking.
Advantages over other places.
When you consider what Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale, does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time. But I say never say never. I've had many, many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it
Someone might need to tell Trump about the concept of consent. I feel like that might be a difficult one for him to understand.
it's to everybody's benefit, Canada loves us, and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing.
Do we even like Canada? What do Canadian, if I recall correctly, we hate Trump. What do we think of Americans? New poll says 27% of Canadians view the United States as an enemy country. 27% as an enemy country. That's fucking insane, dude. This would have never fucking happened years ago. The poll was conducted between the 14th and 17th. Surveyed 1,500 Canadians and 1,000 Americans. It was conducted online. Oh, so it's an online poll. What do we even think of them? Just 20% of liberals and 21% of NDP supporters said the U.S. was an ally. Oof, that is rough. 37% of liberal supporters and 34% of New Democrats said it was an enemy. Yeah, we don't really like them, and also, yeah, the Quebecois also do not like the Americans. Nearly half of Bloc Québécois voters said they see the United States as an enemy country. What was the conservatives? Really? No conservatives? They would probably be the ones who are the most favorable to Trump, if I were to take a guess. And what? Yeah, these are not good numbers. I'll be quite honest. Pretty bad. Well, yeah, Quebec just does hate everyone else that's not Quebec. I mean, that is also true, Boy Meets Many. And yeah, like you said earlier, Zane, yeah, China is also making more nuclear power plants than, any country right now. Well, yeah, people complain about China having a bunch of coal power plants, but we looked into this, right? The purpose of having all these coal power plants that they're building is as a transitionary step for when they move to, nuclear and more renewable sources. It's meant to go from one place to another place. Transition, if you may say. What the Daho being a woke gay libtard. You're liberal, he's woke, he talked about trans. Ridiculous memes aside. Yeah, Canadians are not exactly big fans of Americans right now. We don't really like you guys because your president kept to talk that real big talk about, man, we would love to annex Canada. We're going to annex you. Go get it. Be our great 51st state. I have to deal with some Americans who still do that fucking shit. And it's just dog, no one's going to fucking like you guys if you keep saying this shit. You guys are already on thin ice. All right? But it's yeah, but you guys are like us basically in every single way. Yeah? We like hockey a lot more than you guys, okay? Let's be honest here. But yeah, we're not really big fans of the Americans at the moment. Let's be honest here.
That's important, but we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see what happens. China.
I was hoping you could clarify something. Earlier this morning, Canada Bill Secretary Besson said that they're having no negotiations here with China. You have said something different.
They want to meet, and they're doing no business right now. And those ships are turning around in the Pacific Ocean. Big turn. Those are big ships. Those ships take about 10 miles to turn. And, we lost $1 trillion to China on trade because of an incompetent president that we had who preceded me, grossly incompetent. You're finding it out more and more now. And by not trading, we're losing nothing. So we're saving $1 trillion. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's just, again, he has no idea. Literally, if we go into, ports in, what? Wasn't trade with China busting under Biden? Yes, I believe so. Ports in America not seeing as much commerce. America's ports problems? No, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Imports are about to collapse at America's busiest port. This is what I'm looking for. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. President's 145% tariffs and Chinese imports to the U.S. are still hurting business. Those stance on how long they'll be in place may be softening. Despite the chaotic tariff rollout, companies are turning off the China to U.S. trade spigot. But like a garden hose that wraps halfway around the world, it takes some time before the water stops flowing on our end, which is true. A typical cargo ship filled with goods manufactured in China needs 2 to 3 weeks to travel to the port of Los Angeles. Yeah. Hey, Boy Meets Minnie, that's where you live. Los Angeles. After a flurry of panicked pre-tariff imports to fill warehouses, we are about to see what it looks like when most imports from China stop arriving at U.S. ports. Yeah, I don't know if I'm correct in saying this, Boy Meets Minnie, but this port handles about it's about 40% of imports come into from China specifically come into this port specifically. Like, this is a bustling port, constantly busy with port workers having to, with port workers constantly working here. And, this has a lot of downstream effects. I'll be quite honest, right? Let's keep it $1.50. What? The workers are going to get affected by this. You want to know who else is probably also going to be affected by this? It's not only just the workers. The truck drivers are going to get affected by this. Local commerce gets affected by this. Broadly speaking, a lot of the bigger stores they're gonna get affected by this. You're gonna start seeing empty shelves as a result, and holidays are gonna get affected by this. We know back to school is gonna be a shit show if Trump doesn't negotiate a deal anytime soon. Christmas could have problems, and a lot of local economies are going to suffer as a result of this exactly happening. But what? The port of Los Angeles is the biggest port in the U.S., sitting on San Pedro Bay. The 7,500-acre facility sprawls across 43 miles of waterfront, filled with cargo and passenger terminals, warehouses, and rail and truck-based cargo loading. According to the port, about 40% of the imports arriving there originate from China. Port of Los Angeles faces a steep cliff. Total volume of shipping containers per week by estimated time of arrival at the Port of Los Angeles. And this is what's being forecasted, right? From 66,000 down to 34,000 in about, this is May 10th. That's not very long from now. Oh, man. That's not a good sign, to be honest. And like I was saying before, this is going to affect a lot of local economies. Goldman Sachs research notes that the U.S. retailers are expecting a 20 to 30% drop in exports in Q2, which lines up with what Soroka said when he was hearing from suppliers in China. The reports I got out of China and Southeast Asia yesterday is that some really famous brands have to put a pause on shipments for the time being. Damn, dude. The effect of the slowdown will be significant and will likely hurt the local economy. Here in Los Angeles, tariffs will affect port-related jobs because, as we know, fewer containers means fewer jobs here at the port, Soroka said. Well, yeah, they're going to have to start letting go of a bunch of people because they can't keep them on payroll. It's just we're just not getting as much stuff in, guys. There's not as much work. We need to save money. Obviously. But, I don't think those tariffs are going to work out as well as you think.
But they want to negotiate, and they want to have a meeting, and we'll be meeting with them at the right time.
But you haven't met them yet.
I have not met with them, of course. You would know if I met. I'd tell you.
Again, it's old man Yowie. He wants his old man Yowie sesh with Xi Jinping, and he's just, I don't know why I'm not getting my old man Yowie session with Xi Jinping. We used to be lovers. I loved him, he loved me, and now we're just not getting that anymore. I don't know whatever happened to me and my lovely little Xi Poo. I love Xi Jinping. I loved him so much, and now he's not returning any of my calls. What's going on?
They want to meet, but we are right now. Look, they're suffering greatly. Their economy is suffering greatly because they're not doing trade with the U.S. and they made most of their money off the U.S. Don't kid yourself. They don't make the money off other countries like this. And we had a trade imbalance. We had a.
They seem to have negotiated a beef deal pretty quickly with the Australians, right, to compensate for that shortage. So, It's, idle conjecture, I guess, you know?
A deficit, or they had a surplus, another way of saying it, of more than $1 trillion. Think of it, more than $1 trillion. And because of 145%, that's the only reason, but because of they have now 145% tariff, there's no trading. You can't trade with 145%. We are, therefore, making, in a certain way, I guess, $1.1 trillion. In other words, we're not losing $1.1 trillion. Our deficit is much better. When I started, I say we were losing billions of dollars a day on trade. That's rapidly turning around. We looked at numbers this morning. So we were losing, the United States during Biden was losing more.
Yeah, I have, like, no idea what the hell he's talking about, by the way. Like, what the fuck does this even mean? We're making $1.1 trillion. That's not how that works. Also, we don't even know if that's, like, how much, like, the U.S. was, like, supposedly... It's just complete nonsense, right? Like, he doesn't know how the economy works, like, simply put.
More than, I won't even give you numbers because they're so embarrassing, but billions of dollars a day on trade. Those numbers are rapidly turning between the tariffs. Don't forget, we're now getting 25% on cars, 25% on aluminum, 25% on steel, and maybe more importantly, massive numbers of companies are moving into the United States. Honda, we have...
Is he talking about the tariffs, right? Like on specific products as well? Stuff which the Americans don't really produce much of. So I don't know why he's tariffing them. I don't know, because he has like an autistic fixation with tariffs. We kind of know why.
Tremendous. The car companies are moving in at levels we've never seen before. The biggest investment ever made in the United...
I like how he also listed like the Japanese car companies like instantaneously. What about you know, where's GM, Ford, or any of those guys? What, did they also all like export their manufacturing over to Southeast Asia or some shit? I mean, to like, or like Canada or Mexico or something. Like I've talked about this before, but we have a big Toyota plant here in the town that I live. Well, in the other town that I lived. I'm like basically right on the border between both towns, but it's like these are sort of evidence that like there's not a lot of cars being cranked out of these like out of like U.S. plants. Like I don't really understand where like the evidence for any of this is, but then whatever. Toyota and Honda crank out tons of cars in the U.S. That's why it's just like it's weird when he says this stuff. I just see it as like kind of idle conjecture. Like it's just like meh, you know, just meh.
United States is being made right now. Trillions of dollars. I would say we could be at $9 trillion. You could go back to other presidents. They haven't had $1 trillion for their entire term. Look at Biden. He had...
I don't understand. Okay, what is this? Trump 9 trillion claim. What is like this? What is this claim? Well, CBS is saying that they don't add up. Trump was pressed on raising consumer prices, slowing economic growth. He defended his tariff policies by claiming that it spurred record investment in the U.S. Okay. I think we probably have close to $9 trillion of investments coming into this country, Mr. Trump said in an NBC interview. So let's meet the press. That was with Kristen Welker. That was not that long ago. That was like, we looked at just yesterday. If you look at other presidents, there's nothing been anything like that. That's a fucking sentence. Jesus Christ. I'm like suffering psychic damage from that, dude. I don't want this player. Go away. He also repeatedly claimed that he secured more investment in his first 2 months than President Biden did in 4 years. Neither claim is supported by evidence, CBS News confirmed, of course. While companies have announced hundreds of billions of dollars in planned investments, so those are planned investments, not confirmed investments, since Mr. Trump's January 20th inauguration, the White House has not provided data showing the total approaches to $9 trillion. So, like I've been saying before, it's just meh. It's I don't know. I guess it's Schrodinger's $9 trillion is I guess what we're operating off of. Like, guys, there's $9 trillion. It's totally $9 trillion. We got $9 trillion, folks. He literally can't math. I considering the fact that he still thinks like we have a trade deficit. That trade deficit means that like the U.S. is losing money. I can't really be too surprised by that, to be honest. So, okay, neither claim is supported by evidence, CBS News found. While companies have announced hundreds of billions of dollars, the White House has not provided. I read this bit already. Additionally, a CBS News review found that some investments highlighted by the White House were announced before Trump's re-election. Well, that's a little weird. So I guess he's deciding to include some of the investments that companies were doing as a result of the CHIPS Act. Nice meme. The comparison to the Biden administration is also misleading. The president is citing future investment pledges, while contrasting them with a narrower list of projects that were in the works or completed by the end of his predecessor's term. So, well, listen, that means I take credit for that. I negotiated for that. So, that's cool. Here's a breakdown of the claims. Some investments Trump claims credit for were announced under Biden. The White House on April 29th said Mr. Trump had secured $5 trillion of U.S. investment in his first 100 days, and published a partial list called the Trump Effect, which it said demonstrated his America First economic policies have sparked trillions of dollars in new investment. The list totals closer to $2 trillion from private companies and around $5 trillion if commitments from foreign countries are included. Well, that's a little suspicious. So what happened? I thought these were, like, I guess every foreign country's companies are all U.S. companies because they ship, like, and do business in the U.S. Maybe that's how, like, Trump is thinking of it. That's a little sus. I don't think that's exact. I don't think that's how that works, Trump. The basis for the president's $9 trillion claim is unclear, and the administration has not explained the discrepancy. A closer look at the White House list also shows some of the investments had been announced before Mr. Trump took office. The list initially included a $4.1 billion commitment from Novelis, a Georgia-based aluminum company, to build a plant in southern Alabama. The construction for that project began in October 2022. Now, who was in power in October 2022? Who was it? This is a simple question. Who was it? Who was in power then? Oh, it was Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe. It was him. And the $4.1 billion total investment was detailed in the company's February 2024 financial report. So that's why he thinks that they've invested $4.1 billion in the... Okay. That's funny. Even though it was done in... It was done in October 2022. Okay, bro. CBS News asked the White House on May 5th why the project was included. The administration did not answer the question. So unsurprising. But by midday, May 6th, the project had been removed from the website. Trump administration also claimed credit for a $1.5 billion pledge by Coring to invest in its solar products facility in Michigan. A company spokesperson confirmed to CBS News that $900 million of this funding was announced months before Trump assumed office. Whoops. On April 29th, Corning announced an additional $1.6 million investment, bringing the total to $1.5 billion. Likewise, the White House listed Johnson & Johnson's commitment to spend $55 billion over the next 4 years. But a company spokesperson confirmed that total includes a $2 billion investment announced last October in a facility in Wilson, North Carolina. We gotta throw that in there too. Fuck it, right? The list also includes the Stargate project. Oh, this is the fucking AI fucking shit he wants to do. A $500 billion AI infrastructure initiative announced by OpenAI and Japan-based SoftBank on July 21st, which had been in development for at least a year before Mr. Trump's inauguration. The company said $100 billion would be deployed immediately, but other few specifics on how or where the money would be spent. Of course, we love our AI companies. We love transparency in AI and in cryptocurrencies, don't we, folks? Comparing to investments under Biden, Mr. Trump has repeatedly said he attracted more investment in 2 months than Biden did in 4 years, suggesting he brought in trillions in a matter of weeks, while casting doubt that the former president secured even $1 trillion during his term. But there's no clear evidence to support this claim. A White House spokesperson said the president was referring to a December 2024 report from the Biden White House, and that's from a White House spokesperson. Guess who was still in power in December 2024? Oh, Sleepy Joe Biden. Whoops. which said the private sector committed at least $1 trillion to clean energy and manufacturing projects during Biden's term. However, Biden's list of investments highlighted a selection of private sector investments in 21st century industries, including green energy, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals, based on project announcements in specific locations or factories under construction. The data on Biden's Investing in America spreadsheet also showed projects that closely resemble some on Mr. Trump's list. I wonder why Trump is leaving those in. So what? We got about the $9 trillion. So far, it's not adding up to that. There's also the There's a $5 trillion claim, which a lot of it is not adding up either. And then CBS here is saying it's more like it's about $2 trillion, with about $1 trillion of it him counting a bunch of stuff from Joe Biden. So I guess Trump has only brought in about $1 trillion of investment, maybe $4 trillion. Probably not $4 trillion. Probably only $1 trillion. Okay, dude, nice meme. By comparison, the Trump administration's list includes broader, less specific investment pledges across a variety of industries, many without clear timelines or locations. I wonder why he's including the less specific pledges. I couldn't think of anything. For example, Mr. Trump's list highlights Apple's recent $500 billion pledge to U.S. manufacturing and training. However, as previously reported by the Washington Post, Apple also announced a $430 billion investment early in Biden's term, including a North Carolina engineering hub that was paused in 2024, and the Biden administration's report does not include any Apple investments in its tally. Oh, so I guess actually then, I guess Biden is at about 1.5 trillion then. If we're operating off of Trump's logic, then. So, guys, did you know that the guy who's obviously a liar is lying? Crazy. However, experts caution that announcements about planned investments don't guarantee action. Companies often will make announcements to essentially curry favor with an incoming administration to show how committed they are to the United States, said Nick, the founder of Atlantis Public Policy, which tracks clean energy investment in the United States. It's not unusual to whether it was President Trump or President Biden or President Obama. I'm not saying this man's name. Too risky. Fuck that. I'm avoiding that shit like the plague. Fuck that, dude. Presidents from both parties have claimed credit for projects started under their predecessors. For instance, pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly announced investments during Trump's first term, some of which contributed to the construction of manufacturing facilities highlighted by Biden's White House investment report. So we can't trust really anyone because because of politics, presidents and politicians like to embellish the fucking goddamn investments that they have, supposedly, allegedly, maybe have done in order to try to curry, favor with voter bases. So, anytime they say I've done trillions upon trillions of dollars of investment, or Biden's just like, hey, Jack, I got all these companies to invest, Jack, look at me, Jack. None of them can be trusted, of course. During his term, Biden signed major pieces of legislation, including the Inflation Reduction Act and CHIPS and Science Act of 2022, which included $24 billion in tax credits to attract private investors in hopes of driving domestic manufacturing commitments. Something that seemingly Trump can't fucking understand with his dumbass tariff policy. Such incentives may continue to fuel further projects during Trump's term, according to, Nick, provided they remain in place. But the long-term impact of federal policy, including both Trump and Biden, may take years to assess. Yeah, because again, as I've said before, it takes time to build these plants because a lot of them left the U.S., so they need time in order to replace them, in order to put them back in. in order to get an actual idea of like what the heck is going on here. But you know, sure, man, it's very hard to attach these new investments that have been announced as being tied directly to the policies of the Trump administration. It's frankly just too early. But Trump doesn't give a shit about any of that, and he's just going to use it as an excuse to just, like, you know, say, we're winning, we're so good at winning, we're the biggest winners, folks. And, you know, his, you know, the sheep that are his supporters, they're going to eat it up all the time. So, whatever. And private equity firms won't be interested in investing in U.S. manufacturing. That is exactly right, Boy Meets Mini. Because private equity, they know, like, that shit's never stable, right?
Bad numbers. People were leaving. They weren't coming in. They were leaving with Biden, and he didn't know the difference. The only thing he knew is people coming in. You know who they were? Illegal immigrants. Okay, from prisons, from mental institutions, from all sorts of places that weren't good, from gangs, from Venezuela. They were coming in.
I don't know how many times we have to say this, but I'll say it again. No, you can claim asylum. You can do that. It's a part of international law. Anyone is allowed to do that. I can claim asylum if I wanted to. Would that, you know, be taken seriously by a court of law? No, because my life is not in any imminent danger. So, whatever.
And there were criminals and murderers, 11,888 people that murdered, and at least half of them murdered more than one person. This is what Biden led into our country. I'm bringing in big companies. We have Apple is investing $500 billion. We have Jensen, as you know, is going to be 500 biggest chip maker, or chip thinker, I call him. He's really a thinker more than a maker. But we also have the maker, Mr. Wei. I get to know them all in the last, it was a cram course. But they're all moving into America because of the tariffs. And I don't think people have appreciated it. Some people.
Yeah, it's definitely not because of the fucking tariffs. We're keeping it $1.50 here. It's, if anything, the tariffs would have the exact opposite effect. But listen, it's all because of me and my tariffs. I do everything. I'm the best. I'm the greatest, obviously, folks. Everything I do is so good. So why don't you just give me the economic, the peace prize or whatever the fuck? I do everything. I'm so good.
People do. Some of the smart people do. So we have more money coming in. It's really an amazing thing. We have more money being invested in the United States now than at any time ever before in our history, and it's not even close. And I think the real number could be 9 or 10 trillion. We don't know everybody that's doing it. We have many. I just heard about a plant that's being built right now, a very, very top-of-the-line company, and they didn't come to the White House. They're just doing it because they're making it because if they build here, there are no tariffs. And this is the big market. This is the market. That sets us apart from it.
What is he even fucking talking about, dude? Like, this is the market. It's a company that I've never heard about, you know? This is just a market. They have a market. They just wanted to do it because they wanted to do it because they love me. Because I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I'm so good. I'm the best. I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm the best. The best ever around. No one's ever gonna bring me down. I am the best around. No one will ever hold me down.
This is the market where everyone wants to be. Now, if I didn't come here and do this, all of a sudden we wouldn't be the market where everyone wants to be. So we're able to do it in time. But we're going to have a great announcement. And I'm not necessarily saying it's on trade. Going to the beginning, we're going to have a great announcement over the next few days, an announcement that will be so incredible, so positive. And I'm not saying, I don't want you to think it's necessarily on trade. Just to finish, we also have a situation, because everyone says, when are you going to sign deals? We don't have to sign deals. We can sign 25 deals right now, Howard, if we wanted. We don't have to.
Then why the fuck are you making all this blizzard if you don't have to sign any deals right now? Again, he's just like, it's just words. Words mean nothing to this man. He just keeps saying just random idiotic fucking bullshit. Like, we don't need to do anything, but we're gonna do everything, but we don't need to do anything, but we're gonna do everything. We don't need to do anything, but we're gonna do everything. We're gonna do so much. The constant fucking doublespeak, dude.
Have to sign deals. They have to sign deals with us. They want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of their market. We don't care about their market. They want a piece of our market. So we can just sit down, and I'll do this at some point.
Who is he even talking about, right? Like, what the fuck is he? What is he on about? Like, just, I don't know, like old man, like sundowning or something. This is like the only thing I can think of. Old man sundowner, I guess.
Point over the next 2 weeks, and I'll sit with Howard and Scott and with our great vice president who has done a really good job. We have some good news to report on a lot of fronts. But JD will be there and Marco, and we're going to sit down and we're going to put very fair numbers down, and we're going to say, here's what this country, what we want, and congratulations, we have a deal. And they'll either say, great, and they'll start shopping, or they'll say, not good, we're not going to do it. I said, that's okay, you don't have to shop. Now, we may think, well, they have a right, you know, that maybe we were a little bit wrong, so we'll adjust it. And then you people will say, oh, it's so chaotic. No, we're flexible. But we'll sit down, and we'll at some point, in some cases, we'll sign some deals. It's much.
No, people are saying what you're doing is chaotic, Trump, because like on like a whim, you're gonna either have the tariffs in place or they're just not going to be in place, which is why everyone is saying that this is chaotic, because it like by definition it's just chaotic. Just random shit has been going down and like nobody knows what the fuck is happening.
It's less important than what I'm talking about. For the most part, we're just going to put down a number and say this is what you're going to pay to shop, and it's going to be a very fair number. It'll be a low number. We're not looking to hurt countries. We want to help countries.
What does he mean by pay to shop? Does he mean like a tariff or something? Like what the fuck does this mean? This is why I say like this dude, he has like no fucking idea about any of the stuff that he's talking about, because he'll just like say just complete random bluster and words, and they're supposed to mean something to people. Like it's like what the like I don't know, like old man rambling. That's really all there is to say.
Countries. We want to be friendly with countries, but you keep writing about deals. When are we going to sign? When? It's very simple. We're going to say.
No, Trump. It's because you and all of your apparatchiks have said like, we've got like 200 deals in the making. We got so many deals in the making. 200 deals, and it's just like, okay, well, what are the deals? People are asking what are they? And then silence. There's nothing. So people are saying like, okay, I mean, you're saying there's all these deals. Well, what are they? What's going on? You know, are there any deals? Are you lying? Is it just random words or something? That's why people are asking questions. Because you keep making claims. This is such a Modi move from him, bringing in foreign companies to create jobs. It's very simple. Then why has it been over 100 days? Exactly. Like, both sides of his mouth fucking bullshit all the time.
In some cases, we want you to open up your country. In some cases, we want you to drop your tariffs. I mean, India, as an example, is one of the highest tariffs in the world. We're not going to put up with that. And they've agreed already to drop it. They'll drop it to nothing. They've already agreed. They would have never done that for anybody else but me. So we're going to put down some numbers, and we're going to say our country is open for business. And they're going to come in.
Do you have any idea what he means by that, Boy Meets Mini? Like, is he just upset that, like, what, India is not purchasing, like, Harley Davidsons or American cars because they don't fucking need them or something? Is that what it is or something? Is that what he's waffling on about? That's, like, the only thing I can think of. He's just mad that, like, India's not buying American cars because what the fuck would they? They have their little fucking tuk-tuks, dude. Why the fuck would they want... Why would they want giant fucking metal fucking monsters, like, from America? Pretty much figured.
And they're going to pay for the privilege of being able to shop in the United States of America. It's very simple. It's very simple. So I wish they'd keep, stop asking, how many deals are you signing this week? Because one day we'll come and we'll give you 100 deals. And they don't have to sign. All they have to do is say, oh, we'll start sending our ships right now to pick up whatever we want or to bring whatever we want. It's very, very simple. And I think my people...
What the fuck are you talking about? 100 deals, they don't have to sign anything. Like, that's not how negotiations work. So then what was the point of doing the tariffs to begin with if you don't want to even do any negotiations? Like, this is what I mean. It's just bluster, silly, idiotic conjecture, and just nonsense. It's just nonsense.
People haven't made it clear. We will sign some deals, but much bigger than that is we're going to put down the price that people are going to have to pay to shop in the United States. Think of us as a super luxury store. A store that has the goods. You're going to come and you're going to pay a price, and we're going to give you a very good price. We're going to make very good deals, and in some cases we'll adjust. But that's where it is. And
I guess he wants America to be a department store or some shit. Okay, make America a department store again. Madassa. Sure, man.
We've been ripped off by everybody for 50 years. For 50 years. And we're just not going to do that anymore. We can't do that. And we can't let any country do that to us. We're just not going to do it anymore.
Still have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Can you tell us a bit more about the deal that you've reached with the Houthis?
No, it's not a deal. They've said, please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to attack your ships.
And where did you hear about that?
It doesn't matter where I hear it. The very good source I could tell.
You probably should know where you heard that from. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, he's talking about the Houthis again, right? Like, huh? That's not how negotiations work, Trump. The Houthis probably specify like what terms and conditions they have, and you negotiate. That's how negotiation works. Okay.
Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say pretty good, right, JD? A very good source. No, they don't want to be. They don't want to be. They don't want to be bombed anymore. You know. I sort of thought that would happen. No, behind you, please.
Clarifying something you said on USMCA. Is the U.S. prepared to walk away from that pact?
From what pact?
USMCA.
No, it's fine. It's there. It's good. We use it for certain things. It's there. We have the USMCA is a good deal for everybody. I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person.
He's talking about Chrystia Freeland, I believe, here. And we all know why. I don't know, like, I don't know what his conniption is with Chrystia Freeland. I don't know. Maybe because she's a woman or something. I don't know. But we all know. We all know why he doesn't like Trudeau. It's emasculation shit.
And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it. You know what I'm talking about. But so, you know, we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way.
Chrystia Freeland, nasty woman, very nasty. She was she made bad deals. Wasn't fair for us. She was a nasty woman, folks. Let me tell you about Chrystia Freeland.
They viewed the deal, and we ended it. You know, we ended that relationship pretty much. The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate it.
Mr. President, I'll say a word on USMCA if I may, Mr. President. It is a basis for a broader negotiation. Some things about it are going to have to change, and part of the way you've conducted these tariffs has taken advantage of existing aspects of USMCA. So it's going to have to change. There's other elements that are come, and that's part of what we're going to discuss.
Thanks, Mark. Very cool.
Prime Minister Carney talked about
Not like Marco, of course.
Canada decided not to shop in the American store as much as before and decided to partner with other countries.
Well, we don't do much business with Canada from our standpoint. They do a lot of business with us. We're at like 4%, and usually those things don't last very long. You know, we have great things, great product. The kind of product we sell, nobody else can sell, including military. Look, we make the best military equipment in the world, and Canada buys our military equipment, which we appreciate. But we make the best military equipment in the world by far. The missiles, the submarines, everything. Everything we have is really top notch.
We
I
love our
rebuilt our
missiles
military
and
during our
submarines,
last term.
folks,
Stupidly,
don't
we
we?
gave some away to Afghanistan, which shouldn't have happened. But that was, I think it was the most embarrassing.
Yeah, again, like, that's the only true thing he said so far. Yeah, pretty much is about, like, what, U.S. military equipment. That is true. The, well, best is questionable, right? Like, it's probably the best. You guys make the most of it, that's for certain. Is the best. I mean, oh, you know, some other people probably would think otherwise, you know. Who knows if the U.S. military equipment really is the best. I don't know. I mean, it is true. It is the best, highest quality. And they make the most of it, obviously. But, like, I don't even know. Like, this is just, like, it's just strange. She's just, like, it's just complete, like, bluster and nonsense so far. I don't know. It's silly. It's the best overall, nodders. Russia and China can't hang. That's probably true. That's probably true.
Moment in the history of our country. It was just very incompetent people. But if you look, the man that's now at the head of our Joint Chiefs, he led the attack on ISIS for me. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs. And Raisin Kane, he was unbelievable. And as you know, we defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. We did it in 3 weeks. And he ran the campaign. I said I like him, but I knew him before. I went to Iraq, and we agreed to a plan, and that was the plan. And as you know, we did it in record time. So we have the best equipment in the world. We have a lot of things, and but Canada does a lot more business with us than we do with Canada. Yeah.
Mr. President, when do you think the investments that you've announced, the trillions, will finally hit economic data this year?
When you're saying about the tariffs?
No, about the investments that you've announced.
Oh, it's hitting right now. Look, they're already starting AI plants. These are not people that look for financing. That's a good thing. You know, in real estate, you get a site, then you have to look for financing, you have to get your zoning, 5 years later you start building, you get a bank, then the bank's no good. These people have massive amounts of cash. The CHIPS Act was a ridiculous thing because that doesn't get them to build. All we did is hand very wealthy companies money. The CHIPS Act that was done by Biden. Billions, we give them billions of dollars. They don't even have to do anything with it. And then if you...
Yeah, that's just not true. There was announcements for like, people were starting to build plants. Manufacturing jobs started to come back to the U.S. as a result of the CHIPS Act. That's what the incentivization structure is meant to do, right? Give the companies money so then they start to hire a bunch of workers back. That was the stipulation, and the CHIPS Act was doing that exactly.
Weren't if you didn't have, and I don't want to be a wise guy, but if you didn't go with the DEI, if you didn't go with all of the different things woke, if you weren't woke, you couldn't even use the money. You had to have a certain percentage of this and that. It's impossible. Impossible to have. The companies actually complained to me. They said they gave me all this money, but nobody can get these people to do anything. I mean, look, President Obama, and if he wanted help, I'd give him help because I'm a really good builder and I build on time, on budget. He's building his library in Chicago. It's a disaster. And he said something to the effect, I only want DEI, I only want woke. He wants woke people to build it. Well, he got woke people, and they have massive cost.
know. It's like how many airplane crashes have been happening? Another DC plane collision pushed Trump and Musk's FAA. Guys, I don't know. I think the woke people are actually doing a pretty good job in terms of you know, administrative work and everything. I don't know. I think woke is going pretty well. Define woke people. Zane, you know they can't do that, right? That's like, you know, they can't do that. Maybe because they're awake and know how to do their job. That's a, you know, isn't Newark about to like face like complete judging, like not judging, complete like funding shortages? Like it's about to, like literally it's about to collapse. Like Newark is about to have like what? School board. There was a majority report thing about this where Newark, which was already like critically like underfunded airport in New Jersey, is just about to completely just like collapse in and of itself. And because of like a lot of the idiocy that Elon Musk was doing with the FAA, like it was more or less just it was like basically about to collapse. It's actually insane. But you know, listen, it's not Newark funding, it's airport. Port of Authority Airport. Here we go. This right here. Hundreds of flights at Newark Airport face delays or cancellations due to staffing shortages and weather. Meanwhile, New York City's cultural institutions are rushing to fill funding gaps after Trump administration cut support for the National Endowments for the Arts. Plus, with just over a month to go until New Jersey's primary, money is pouring into the governor's race, but the cash trail isn't easy. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. But yeah, we know that there's Newark is having a lot of problems. From Reuters, U.S. wants airlines to cut flights at Newark to reduce ongoing woes. I guess funding. There you go, funding. The busy airport just outside of New York. The airport has been hit by runaway construction, FAA equipment outages, and air traffic control staffing shortages that are prompted urgent calls from lawmakers for investigation and new funding for Newark. Yep, more airports are gonna get fucked, dude. I don't even want to imagine what could potentially happen to like LAX or some shit, right? That'd be fucking wild.
Overruns, the job is stopped. I don't know. It's a disaster, and I don't like that happening because I think it's bad for the presidency that a thing like that should happen. He's got a library that's a disaster, and he wanted to be very politically correct, and he didn't use good, hard, tough, mean construction workers that I love, Marco. I love those construction workers, but he didn't want construction workers. He wanted people that like never did it before, and he's got a disaster in his hands.
What are you fucking talking about? Most of the people who tend to do construction work are people that you deport, you fucking troglodyte. Like, this is nonsense. This is insane. This is stupid.
Like millions of dollars, really many millions of dollars over budget. And I would love to help him with it, or somebody else. I could recommend professionals, but it was not built in a professional manner.
I don't know. Like,
by the way, nor was in California a little train going from San Francisco to Los Angeles that's being run by Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Did you ever hear of Gavin Newsom? He has got that train is the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. It's like.
Boy Meets Minnie, can I get some context? What the fuck is he talking about? What is this fucking train or some shit? Is he talking about the high-speed rail project that's going on in California? What is this? High-speed rail project. Right. The thing that's been constantly fucked with by one of your fucking butt buddies, Elon Musk. So, I don't think that's Newsom's problem. I don't think it's Newsom's problem, that one. I think you might want to talk with Elon about that one.
Totally out of control. So then they said, all right, we won't go into San Francisco. We'll stop 25 miles short. And we won't go into Los Angeles. We'll stop 25 miles short. It's hundreds of billions of dollars for this stupid project that should have never been built.
Yep.
And then they realized that it would have been a lot less costly if we just gave limousine service back and forth and gave it free. They would have saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Let's go. Hyperloop 2. We're going to do Hyperloop again, guys. Let's go.
They have airplanes that go there for one 100th the cost. And they have cars. They have a thing called a highway that goes back and forth that's not fully utilized. And they got involved with this project. And Gavin,
I
unfortunately,
wonder where
I
the
always liked
people that are
Gavin. I had a
laughing
good
right
relationship
now.
with him. I just got him a lot of water. You know, I sent in people to open up that water because he refused to do it.
Sarcasmatron video on this is very, very good, talking about what Trump did with the water. But let's see. Trump, California water. So, 2.2 billion gallons of water flowed out of California's reservoirs because of Trump's order to open the dams. This was just one of the fucking dumbest things that fucking happened. Like, immediately in his administration. Just complete idle fucking bluster. So, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers opened 2 dams on Friday in Central California and let roughly 2.2 billion gallons of waters to flow out of the reservoirs after President Donald Trump ordered the release with the misguided intent to send water to fire-ravaged Southern California. Yeah, as you're saying, Boy Meets Mini, the water doesn't even flow down here. Man doesn't know basic geography. Yeah, he was talking about, like, California has so much water. They have the most water. They're just not opening it. I don't know why they're opening it. They always had the water to fight the fires. The problem that they didn't anticipate was that it would be as ridiculously aggressive, and also, holy shit, they didn't think at the part of the season that it was at that there would be fires as aggressively as it was. So they weren't prepared for it. That's why. Otherwise, for wildfire season, because what? It was peak of the wet season wherein the wildfires happened. And if it's peak of the wet season, generally speaking, most people are not going to anticipate fires to happen in Los Angeles. But hey, thanks to like a freak sort of, not accident, but like a freak wind and like a sort of freak sort of heat wave, as a result of that one thing that Trump definitely doesn't believe in, global warming, whoa, all of a sudden there was some problems that occurred. But, you know, whatever. Yeah, that's true, Boy Meets Mini. His supporters will always believe it anyways. Clueless. Even people down here believe it. They're stupid. Like, literally, you want to know the only thing he accomplished by unleashing this water from those dams? He just flooded the floodplain, like the plains. He just flooded them and just wasted 2.2 billion gallons of water. It did nothing. Downstream entities use these releases for limited irrigation demand and groundwater recharge, the statement said. About 2.2 billion gallons were released. Local water districts said in a statement released. That water was discharged into the dry lake bed of Tulare Lake, according to a letter from Senator Alex Padilla and to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. This release is extremely concerning. It provides zero benefit in putting California farmers at risk of water supply constraints in the coming months. California Department of Water Resources Director Carlo Nemeth told reporters that there was little coordination between federal officials and the state and local water managers for the Army Corps releases at the Terminus Dam at Lake Coway and Schaefer Dam at Lake Success. These reservoirs were federal reservoirs, and the state of California was not part of the decision making in this instance, Nemeth said. We traditionally have a high degree of coordination at the operational level, which really wasn't a part of this decision. California State Water Project supplies water from Northern California to Southern California, including Los Angeles. Los Angeles' water supply came partly from state reservoirs and partly from the Colorado River, which is drying up, by the way. This is a really big problem that not a lot of people are talking about. Guess what's causing that? Global fucking warming. But Los Angeles' water sources are completely separated from the water system that Lake Coway and Lake Success supply. Those were the two that he opened up like a dumbass. Whoa, they have nothing to do with Los Angeles. Idiot. That water system flows into agriculture-heavy Central Valley, where large farms grow nuts, citrus, and grasses for animal feed, among other crops. The water-stressed region is heavily reliant on groundwater and winter precipitation stored in state reservoirs to irrigate crops. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the White House did not respond to CNN's request for comment. I don't think he knows how big California is, actually. A Mexico border to Oregon is at least a 17-hour drive. Listen, if you were to quiz this man on basic geography, his fucking head would probably explode.
and we just got them a lot of water. If they would have had that water, and if they would have done what I said to do, they wouldn't have had the fires in Los Angeles. Those fires would have been put out very.
Yeah, the two fucking things that you opened have nothing to do with Los Angeles's water supply. You just opened them because you opened them. Like, that's it. He just opened them because I was like, yeah, I want to make it seem like I'm not an incompetent, so I'm just going to open the water. I'm going to do it.
Very quickly. But if you think about it, and you got to take a look at this, it's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of stupid people build a lot of stupid things, but that's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. What's happening between San Francisco and Los Angeles. And you want to ask about that because this government is not going to pay. I told our very great new Secretary of Transportation, he's doing a good job, Sean Duffy, I said, we're not going to pay for that thing. They are just, it's out of control. This is something that...
Man, it's like, I mean, the right do really hate trains, don't they? Like, I don't even know, like, man, we like, fuck the trains, we hate trains, we only like cars, American cars, that's the only thing that matters to us, folks. We love cars, don't we, folks? We love cars. We love being coerced by car companies in order to give them a bunch of subsidies so they give me preferential political treatment. We love cars, don't we, folks? Cars.
You don't have things like this. It's not even conceivable. Like,
yeah, like you're saying, Boy Meets Mini, it's out of control, but the Hyperloop is a viable investment. Even though all the reports, from what we know now, is that Elon Musk, the only reason why he created the Hyperloop and tried to make the Hyperloop a thing was to stunt any potential for California rail. Like, we know this. It was all a fucking quid pro quo, fucking just complete fucking asinine bullshit.
Like 30 times over budget, 30 times. It's the craziest thing. And now it's hundreds of, it was supposed to be a simple train. And I think the media should take a look at it. And I'd love him to run for president on the other side. You know, I'd love to see that. But I don't think he's going to be running because that one project alone, well, that and the fires and a lot of other things, pretty much put him out of the race.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the things that put Gavin Newsom out of the race. I'm going to be quite honest. It's because, honestly, it's him playing fucking footsie with, like, dipshits like Steve Bannon is what's going to put him out of the race.
What changes would you like to see to the USMCA?
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't.
No, the things that are going to put, like, Gavin Newsom's fucking a career out in terms of, like, the presidential election is... It's not going to be the fires. It's not going to be any of that shit. It's the fact that he's, like, playing footsie with, like, dumbasses like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. Like, literally, he even... in his, like, interview with Charlie Kirk on his fucking dumbass podcast, he was talking about, like, so, yeah, like, my son's, like, a really big fan of you for some reason. Like, I don't understand, but he loves Charlie Kirk. It's just, like... I wonder why. I wonder why your son might be a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I could probably think of something.
Pretty much put him out of the race.
Mr. President, what changes would you like to see to the USMCA? What changes would you like to see?
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have trade. They're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum.
We have
and I think we have a baseline of 10%
folks.
or something like that for the tariffs. But we're getting along very well. Right now, going no further, but we have an agreement. We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard, with respect to Canada?
I mean, let's be honest here, Boy Meets Mini. Does Mark Carney really have to say, like, much of anything? Like, I don't know. Let the old man crash out. Let the old man have his fun or something. Fuck it. Like, just sit there and just vibe. Make it look like you are like you know how to deal with the the complete dipshit in power. Carney doesn't really have to do anything. You can just chill.
Which helps Canada out.
Sure. So we've made an arrangement with the car companies that 15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing
We
really
got our
thrive.
boy
So it gave
Howard
them a chance to
like,
be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But they're able to build them in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial period of time.
Just to clarify, Mr. President, is there anything the Prime Minister can say to you today to change your mind on tariff in Canada?
Tariff in cars?
Tariff in Canada. Is there anything he can say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No,
Why not?
just the way it is.
it's just the way it is. Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. Sure, man. Like, I guess we just have to deal with the fucking tariffs for the rest of our lives or something. Like, stupid, man. It's just dumb.
Yeah. If Canadians don't want it, you respect that.
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time. They have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Well, respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved. And this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions. And that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation. But we want to make our own cars.
Very
We don't really want
friendly
cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada. And at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things.
So yeah, as far as we know, there's only like one steel plant that we're aware of that's being built, right? One aluminum plant. Like, it's nonsense. Just claims. Just random claims. Just say random shit. Who cares?
Because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada.
I've already explained this before, but the reason why the U.S. has a trade deficit with us is because of stuff that you did. You did that. You're the reason as to why there's a trade deficit. But, whatever. It's all because of Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's always Joe Biden's. Never my fault.
Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and...
You calling, by the way, like, him calling Trudeau governor is not the reason why Trudeau was fucking losing the election. You had nothing to do with that. It's just Canadians were just fatigued with Justin Trudeau, which is why he was going to get fucking completely mollywopped in that election. Like, that's it. I mean, I've already talked about how fucking stupid that is, but, like, still, your dumbass had nothing to fucking do with that.
If the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not
the fucking face that Carney is making, like, looking at him, like, just, like, looking at him, just be like, this fucking motherfucker, what are you talking about? It's like, that's not how that works, dude. Because, again, this man is a world-renowned economist.
a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantial... Thank you.
I guess we're done with this. Cool.
All right. Could you tell there at the end it was getting very, very heated inside?
Sure, man. It was definitely getting heated. I don't know, like, typical just old man brain leaking. He just is going to keep lying, keep saying the exact same shit, and he has, like, no fucking idea what he's talking about when he, like, any of this stuff. I mean, in comparison to a lot of the more recent press conferences he's been having, this one was not as insane. Like, the Nayib Bukele one was insane. But this was, like, I would say, like, relatively speaking, more normal. He still has, like, no idea what he's talking about when he's like broaching a particular subject or whatever. He's still like a complete charlatan and buffoon. But like in terms of what a lot of the claims that were made, it's a lot of like just the same old standard Trump bullshit and nonsense where he just like he has like no fucking idea what he's talking about. Like that's really all there is to it about this one, to be honest. Yeah, this one not as insane as it could have been, but still broadly speaking, he has like he still doesn't know what trade deficits are. He still doesn't know how why the 2.2 billion gallon the water fiasco was stupid. He still doesn't get that, and he still also just like broadly speaking just barely has any understanding of like any of the claims that he's making, like the $9 trillion claim, bullshit. Apparently the Houthis want to negotiate with the United States. Or said they want to surrender or something. I don't know. there's like no evidence, or like it's like based basically on nothing. Like it's just standard like Trump idiot stupid bluster. That's really all there is to say about that.